Dollbellieknits is 20 and I'm having a party. And it's going to be off the hook. Well, off the needles anyway. I have quite a few finished objects to show and they will be the life of the party. Plus I have mean mom updates and some magical memories to share, all on this episode of Dollbellieknits. Huzzah! Hey everyone, welcome to this 20th episode of Dollbellieknits. My name is Annabelle and you can find me here on YouTube as Dollbellieknits. Other places that you can find me on social media include Instagram and Ravelry as Dollbelly. And there's also a group for this blog on Ravelry. If you search the groups tabs for Dollbellieknits, you'll find me and the other viewers in the forums chatting it up. I am super excited to be back with you. It's been about 2 weeks, and I like to record a little bit sooner than that, but the 2 weeks time has given me the time to finish up quite a few objects that I have been working on for a long time, so I am super excited to share those with you. I will just dive right in and start with works in progress, but things that are actually finished objects. So, first thing, let's see, what do I want to do first? Okay. So, first thing, I finished the triangle socks. So, here's the one. It's not on the sock blocker on purpose, and I'll tell you why. So these socks, I just wanted to try something new and different. I've been trying new techniques, new things for sock knitting in 2018, and this is actually a pattern that I just made up on my own. Hopefully I'll be able to write it down and publish it, but in writing down what it is that I'm doing and trying to write it in a way that I know other people will understand, I've actually learned quite a bit about my sock knitting and how I knit, and that I kind of use an amalgamation of several techniques as my usual vanilla sock knitting. But anyway, that's what I'm going to try to do. In the meantime, these are socks that I used Serenity Sock, Deborah Norville or Premier brand Serenity Sock. So it's supposed to be in navy, which on camera and off camera, this does not look navy. This definitely looks like a gray. And then also, this was actually gray or silver. I forget the exact colorway. But I used a 3.75 millimeter needle. I used two 16-inch circulars so that I can do the socks 2 at a time. I made these toe up, starting with the contrasting color. And this time, which was new for me, I put in an afterthought heel. So I thought that was particularly interesting. It knit up pretty fast. I like the way that the pattern looks when it's not on the sock blocker. I think you can see on the foot part of the sock, I did the triangle with the point down, and then on the cuff part of the sock, I put the triangle facing up. And I will insert some more close-up pictures as well. But when I put it on the sock blocker, I mean, it looks better there, but to me in person, it kind of looks like the pattern, especially on the cuff, gets blown out. Like you can't really tell that it's a triangle. And maybe it's just because the 3.75 millimeter needle, along with the sock weight yarn, makes for a thin fabric. And maybe because that it's so thin, that's why the pattern gets blown out a little bit. So, you know, lesson learned, right? That's what this is all about. Additionally, I've noticed, and this is not the first time I've noticed this, my socks, no matter what kind of heel I do, on one side, there's a pretty significant hole. Whereas the other side, not so much. So, and I picked up the same number of stitches, and in other cases I've actually picked up more stitches on one side than the other, but it always seems to be the case that one side of the sock you have a bigger hole where the heel joins the foot and the calf. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas on why that is happening to me and what I can do to fix it, I would appreciate it. Please make a comment in the comment section below. Leave me your thoughts, let me know. Or conversely, you can go to the Ravelry group, where every time I post a video, I also start a thread to discuss the show that week, and has the show notes and everything in it as well. So you can hit me up either place and tell me what you think I may or may not be doing wrong, or perhaps that's just the way it is when you knit socks by hand, that you're going to inevitably have a hole where the heel and the calf kind of meet. But that was interesting. I enjoyed that on my DIY sock locker, which I only have one. So yeah, those are done. Finished object number 1. The next finished object that I have, finally, is the Bird of Fire. This is the pattern that I've been doing for quite a while. It is a pattern by Sarah Wilcox, and it is also part of a knit along that's being hosted by Mel Brown at Mel Brown Crafting Podcast. So if you go in Ravelry and you go into the groups and you look up Mel Brown Crafting Podcast, you'll see a thread in her forum for Bird of Fire knit along. And as I've said, every time I've mentioned it, Sarah Wilcox is part of that forum, so if you have any problems with the pattern, you can ask her directly and get your information, get your problem solved. So I haven't blocked this yet because I literally just finished it this morning, but I am super happy with the way that it looks. This is the shawl that I've been working on, where the variegated color is a Easy Knits Dusted Dreams in the colorway called Siren Song, and it certainly makes me think of mermaids. And then this solid, almost, I guess you could almost call it tonal color, is a yarn that I dyed myself with Mel. So I purposely picked the blue. I thought that was a really nice shade. You can see the nice shaping in the neckline here in the camera. So yeah, I'm going to block it out. It's going to get even bigger, and it's nice and lightweight, and I'm really super excited. I still got ends running on the back side, but I'm really excited about this. I'm really happy to be done with it, and it's for me. So that'll be nice and fun to wear. Yeah. So that's object number 2. I can't think, I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about it, but I'm not sure right now. Let me have another sip of my drink. That'll probably help. Oh, I know what it was. The shaping of the neckline. So basically the pattern is worked, so you start here and you go side to side all the way down, all these flames, and then when you're done you turn it over and you pick up all the stitches along the top to form the neckline. I made a mistake in reading the pattern, so that's why there's kind of this definitive separation where you can see that there's a neckline and then the rest of the shawl. I was reading, because you had to place a lot of markers, and because it said PM in my head, I read purl. So I purled all the stitches and placed the markers, and it made this 2 lines of stockinette stitch. So that's why you can see that there's a definitive switch and change in which way the shawl was being knitted. Additionally, I followed the pattern, and when I got towards the end, I was kind of running out of stitches, and it didn't seem to be lining up exactly with what the pattern was calling for, but I just kept going and kept going with the theme of the short rows that give you the crescent and the curve shape, and I think it worked out perfectly fine. So I don't know if that is a problem with the pattern or if it's a problem with me. Most likely it's a problem with me because it involved math, so it's probably a problem with me. But still, I think it came out great. I'm not sure how I'm going to block it. I don't have a blocking mat or blocking pins or anything like that. I like to use what I have on hand, so I think there's a possibility of using clothesline and pegs to weigh it down and stretch it out. So yeah, I will let you know what I do with that and how that goes and take pictures and all that other good stuff. But that's super exciting, and it's nice yarn too, so that's going to be nice to wear as well once I weave in this really long end anyway. Okay, other work in progress is not a finished object, but it is definitely a hoe. Definitely half object. I have finally turned the corner on the enormous wedding blanket. Let's see, what color? I think since the last time I've recorded, every time I hold this blanket up to the camera, it totally changes the way that the camera looks. So it's an overpowering sense of green. So, because it is all green, this is a blanket that I've been working on for my youngest daughter's teacher. He's getting married. He probably already is married. August was the wedding date. So it was for him as a wedding present, and the idea behind it is that I used to teach crochet at the primary school, so I'm getting all the kids who were part of the crochet groups to add some stitches to the blanket. So I will still be working on that. I got a couple weeks left, and since the last time, I think I may have added this bright green and this speckled green, and then there's some bluey green, because this is all stash yarn. This is all stuff that I had on hand. I have quite an extensive stash of acrylic, which I like to use when I'm making these blankets. This is a C2C or an end-to-end, or as my family likes to call it, a triangle blanket. It's our go-to blanket for baby blankets, wedding blankets. And consequently, I do have an enormous stash of acrylic, because it's just the easiest to use for these kinds of blankets, things that are going to be used quite frequently and therefore need to be washed quite frequently. The acrylic makes for easy wash and dry. But I am going to make it all green, and in attempting to make it all green, I really did pilfer through all of my stash and have come to the end of my green. No matter, mommy to the rescue. My mom, hey mom, awesome mom. If she knows you need something or you want something, she tries to get it for you. So since seeing my video, mom pilfered her stash as well, and she sent me a box of blues. There's some blues in there, but green is the primary color. So, and I actually think this one's already part of the blanket. So that was really nice and really sweet of my mom to do that. So that will be exciting. Something else to add to the story of the blanket. And of course she sent me this nice little note with what looks like the backside of a Michael's coupon. But it says, Annabelle, hope this will help you complete your wedding blanket. Love, Mom. So thanks, Mom. It definitely will help me complete the blanket. So very excited Very excited to be halfway through because it's all downhill from here on out. It's just going to get smaller and smaller as we decrease, and that's going to make things go a lot quicker. So that should be a finished object very, very soon. Okay, I have one more finished object to share, but it is part of the Christmas knitting segment of the show. I like to get Christmas knitting started during the summertime, and I've already started and finished my first Christmas present. So for this part of the show, I would ask my husband and my oldest daughter to look away. This is the only way I can figure out how to share a project with you guys, is by asking them to look away and then somewhat talk secretively about what I'm working on. So if you are not husband and you are not oldest daughter, please pay attention to the screen, as I will be popping up information off to the side here when there's things that I don't want to say, because I'm trying to not verbally give away the information. So my finished object, my first Christmas knitting finished object, is for hubby, and the pattern I've been working on is a Stephen West pattern called. And I have made something also Stephen West for him last Christmas. And Stephen West, I'm sure if you don't know his patterns, go and take a look. A lot of his patterns are very architectural in nature, making them really fascinating to look at and fascinating to work on. So this one, I chose the larger version of the pattern because it comes in 2 sizes depending on what size needle and what size yarn you use. I chose the larger version, so I used a worsted weight, I was going to say mohair, but that's not right. It is a yarn that is made by Red Heart, and it's called Chic Sheep. And it is I'm drawing a blank. It's terrible. It's a wool. Put the name up here. And I should know the name. Merino. Okay. And the color is, the colorway is platinum. I think that'll be okay to say. So, I didn't block it, of course, because it's not due till Christmas. So, and like I said, I don't have a blocking mat or pin, so I'm, have to make something up. In addition, I have to block it and be done with it, or put it someplace that hubby won't see. So I'm going to have to work that all out, and I'll get back to you on that one. But here it is. So this is like the center bit of it. So I'll throw it over here so you can see. So it's got this really cool, just look at that. I love it. I love it. And I think this is a pattern that even Stephen would say is not older Stephen West, but beginning Stephen West, because the shape is definitely architecturally pleasing, but in the original pattern the colors are somewhat more muted, versus today he does a lot of speckles and pops and blending and things like that. Even so, that's why I love his patterns, because you can choose to do something that would be one color, 2 colors maybe, muted colors, or you can go really vibrant, you can go speckles, you can go pops, you can do whatever you want, and it all seems to work out. So if you haven't done a Stephen West pattern, I highly recommend that you do. It's certainly, you'll learn things and you'll love things about it. So give it a go. But yeah, this is it. And then you can do this and this. You could do a lot of things. And I think husband is just going to rock it. So that's really exciting. And it's nice. And it feels nice, which is also a prerequisite. Is that the right word? Hubby likes things to feel nice up against his skin. Who doesn't? That's part of the fun, picking out what yarn or what wool you're going to work with, is how it feels, how it looks. So this is really super soft, and I bet after it gets wet and it gets blocked a little bit, it'll be even softer. So I've never actually worked with this yarn before, this Red Heart. I think it's Red Heart by Marley Bird is the exact, the correct name of the wool. So it was cost effective. It was not ridiculously expensive. So yeah, that might be another avenue that you want to look at if you're going to make something that requires several skeins of a mohair. No, I keep saying mohair, merino. Maybe I need to make something in mohair. Maybe that's what this lesson is here. But yeah, because this took up 3 skeins, and this was the larger version. And I only had like a little bit left, so it was just about right. Yep, so that's Christmas knitting project 1 done. And the last of my finished objects that I have to share. But what I am going to share next in this Christmas knitting segment, I actually gave a sneak peek last week as to what I would be working on. And I said it was going to be something out of this. So I'm going to flip to the exact page. Don't want to give away any of the pattern because this is obviously had to buy it. It's a book, and I'm not even sure it's in print anymore. So definitely don't want to be messing with anybody's proprietary rights here. But yeah, here we go. So let's see. There's more than one picture. Which one do I want to show? I'll show this one. So that is what I'm going to be working on. Let's show another picture. Yeah, there's another one here. Here we go. So that. And this will be a new experience for me as well, because I don't think I've ever knitted something like this. I've crocheted something like this, which if I can find the photos, I will share on Instagram or something, because that's funny how that turned out. That was way back in the day. But yeah, so I'm going to work on that. I will be using Vanna Style in this color. I actually went through Ravelry and I looked at other people's finished objects for this particular pattern, which the pattern is by Allison Hansel, if you want to look it up on Ravelry, so you'll be able to check that out. And I will put all the show notes in the description box below. Additionally, like I said, they are also in a separate thread for the episode in this vlogs group on Ravelry. So if you have questions or you have any input or you just want to chat, pop on over to either place, either here, leave a comment, or over to Ravelry. But anyway, I went to Ravelry, I looked at other people's finished objects, and I specifically looked for people who worked in, I don't know if I went and specifically looked for people who were working in like acrylics or something, because I want it to be easy care, but I don't want it to be pilly. I don't want it to look not nice. I want it to look nice. Anyway, I found a couple people who had done it in, I must have been focusing on the acrylic, because I think this is acrylic. Yeah. And I emailed them, which again, right, the community is great. You can email strangers across the world and be like, hey, what did you do and how did this work out for you? And they respond. So I think I asked somebody in the States, I asked somebody in Germany. So this, I ended up picking this Vanna Style. And obviously this colorway is called Charcoal. This is 100% acrylic, and it is, it's not a worsted weight. It's a number 3. It's a light. So I think it might actually be what we would call sport weight in the States. Yeah. honestly, because I do Christmas knitting early, like I plan early, I went and did all the mental math and all the planning ahead of time, and it's been so long that I'm forgetting, you know, what it is that I chose to do or why I chose to do it. And I guess that's part of being in your 40s as well, right? So obviously this is going to be for the main part, and then I got some more, same brand, and I did choose these colors. So that'll be exciting. And, you know, oldest daughter is of the age and, you know, size that this should be something that could be utilized for years to come. That was also part of my decision-making process to go ahead and invest the amount of time and energy into a project like this, because I want it to be something that sticks around for a while. I will be using Chalgu red lace. I got these all ready up. So you need a size 6, and then you also need a size, I ain't got my glasses on. So it's a size 6 or 4 millimeter, which is for the main part of the object, and then a 3.25 or a 3 US size for the, you know, this bit, those things. So that is next to get started, and now that I have all the other items off the needles, I'm gonna start this today. I'm gonna have to do it, like lock myself in a room, but you know what, to be honest, that's part of the fun of Christmas knitting for mommy. Mommy's busy, you can't come in the room. No, come back later. Yeah, working on something. I'm also a mean mommy. So that's what's next on the show. I have mean mommy updates. Take a drink. Ooh. This is actually an alcoholic drink. So this could turn out to be a really interesting episode. Okay. Right, so the last couple episodes I have been having a segment called Mean Mom. And it's kind of just a way to be fun or cheeky about the fact that it's the summer holidays, and my husband and I are of the thought process that we try not to let the kids' brain turn into mush when they have an extended period of time off, especially with the amount of time that they would prefer to spend on electronics if we let them. So at the beginning of the summer holiday, which is quickly approaching an end, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, I gave them 2 tasks. One was that they had to make something, and the other was that they had to give me some input on where they would like to go for half-term break in October, because they are of the age that they're getting more vocal about where we decide to go on holiday, specifically more vocal about whether they're happy about where we've decided to go on holiday. So I said, okay, this is your chance to give us some input. So as far as the projects are concerned, youngest daughter had decided that she wanted to redo a Monster High doll and to make some clothes. And we kind of went down that path, and it ended up being a little bit more difficult than we expected it to be, probably because I don't sew. That's probably the main inhibitor there. But in her planning of the project, she did a lot of sketching, and she does draw frequently, but I think that kind of sparked her a little bit. And instead of doing the Monster High doll bit, she actually ended up filling an entire sketchbook of mythical creatures that she made up on her own, as well as some details about them. So what started off as a project on redoing a doll that was mythical herself, the dolls, the Monster High dolls, all based on classic monster figures, ended up being an entire sketchbook full of imagined mythical creatures, which I am all for that. Definitely all for being creative, all for doing your own thing. And, you know, like I said to her, the whole point of the project was to actually do something, to physically make something. And sometimes you start out thinking one thing and you end up doing something else. Happens all the time to us crafters. You start knitting something, or you think you're going to knit something with a particular wool, and then something else pops up and it changes your mind. So in the end, it's all good, and it's really the practice of going through the motions of using your brain, using the right and the left side of your brain, to create something that's beautiful and fun and just artistic and in value. Cheers to youngest daughter. Right. My middle daughter, she's the one who decided that she was going to crochet a bikini top. And she did. We actually ended up finding some cotton, partial cotton, it might have been cotton and acrylic, in stash that she had stashed in her room. Everybody's got stashes around the house. So I said, let's give this a go, because we weren't sure how that was actually going to turn out. Having spoken to Vincent from Vesuvius Crafts, so I put his name up there. He makes beautiful stuff. And I spoke to him a little bit about it, and he did mention that, cup shaping isn't exactly as straightforward as you might think it is. So I don't know that this is a wearable piece, but it's certainly beautiful in the sense that she planned it, she sat down, she did it. Her crocheting is very even, her stitches are beautiful, and we ended up with a finished object. Probably something we can just maybe sunbathe in the backyard, which is kind of funny because now the heat wave is over and the time has passed, and I don't know if it'll come again here in England, seeing as this is a record-breaking heat summer for the country. Oldest daughter decided she was going to write a novel. Again, it is something that she likes to do, something that she's strong in, and it keeps her from just sucking in YouTube videos. In response to my telling her I need to have a plan, you need to get things going along, she did produce an outline for me of what she was going to do. I am really looking forward to reading what she's written. I'm going to do my best to stay objective about the content of the novel, and I am just going to relish in the fact that her creativity and artistry is coming out on display. Now we come to the part of the show that I like to call Magical Memories. It is the part of the show that I recap something that I've recently done, either with my friends or my family, that has been a lovely time for us to share together, an experience and a memory in the making. This past, I guess it was last Saturday, we went to a art show that is put on once a year, and it's called Art in the Pen. And it was held in the Skipton cattle market, hence the in the pen part. I have the brochure here for the Art in the Pen. Unfortunately, I spilled milk on it, so it's a little messed up. But first off, being a city girl, I really just am fascinated and amazed by the fact that there's a cattle market, and like it's still in use, and it's still people still come and sell their sheep and sell their cows, and it's still used for that purpose for which it was built. Additionally, there's stores at the market, at the building. There's the country store, there's the cattle feed store, and there's a college that is also part of the buildings in the area for agricultural studies. Again, being a city girl, I'm not used to these kinds of things, and I just find it completely fascinating, and I love seeing those things, the part of the history of where I live, as well as the everyday of where I live. This is very much a rural agricultural area. So basically all the exhibitors can come and they set up their wares inside the little pens and where the cattle would be kept, the sheep and whatever. So there were a lot of people there, 140 exhibitors according to the thing. We did look at every stall, and there were a few people who were fiber artists. So I did actually pick up some items that are related to wool. So I'm going to share them with you. And I'll put them in the show notes too. So if you're anywhere near me or anywhere near any of these things, October 27th and 28th, is that correct? Yep. There will be the Kendall Wool Gathering. Everything related to wool, craft materials, finished garments, art. There'll be a knit and natter. Livestock demos, which I love seeing the sheep when I go to the wool festivals. And those livestock demos will be by the Westmoreland Agricultural Society. There's free parking as well. So that's something that if you're near there, you might want to check out and see that. More urgent, as in this happens tomorrow, is the pop-up wool shop. It's Saturday, August 18th from 10 to 4 in Hume Hall. There's going to be quite a few artisans there. Lottie Knits, the wool shop from Leeds, Crafts from the Clink, Coastal Colors, handmade by Pickle Lily. So it looks like that's just going to be a short pop-up shop, so you can go and get some of your wool. There is an entry fee, £3 entry fee. Yeah, so if you're near Hume Hall in Whirl, you can check that out. Additionally, so like I said, there's like 140 exhibitors, and there was everything from a few fiber artists who were there, particularly with knitted or felted items, but there was glass, there was steel, there was, wood carving. It was just all kinds of stuff. And I like going and looking because I just find it really, really inspiring. And it's not just inspiring to like, oh, I might like to try that. It's inspiring to the craft that I already partake of, to my knitting, to my crocheting, whether it's the colors that you see, whether it's the shapes that you see. I love it. I love sucking it all in and just walking around. So some of the people that I saw that I thought were particularly interesting and I wanted to mention as well was Rachel Thornton. This is one of her cards. She's an artist and a printmaker, and I don't know if that's, again, can't tell if it's focusing. I don't have my glasses on, so everything's out of focus for me. But she does a lot of woodworking where she basically takes like a piece of wood. A lot of them looked like they were sections of a tree trunk, and she uses biro or ballpoint pen to sketch and draw a picture on it, and then she'll go back with woodworking tools and like etch bits out. So her stuff was really beautiful. She was really nice. We spent some time talking to her. So, I will put all her stuff in. Everybody has a website, so you can take a look at her stuff if that's something that you might be interested in. Additionally, who else did we saw? There was Jane O'Neill, Abundant Glass. She did a lot of fused glass, which that was new to me in a sense. Not that I've never seen these items before, but the fact that it was called fused glass instead of stained glass. I have done some stained glass windowing, and looking at the items now I can see the difference, but I wouldn't have known that. I don't know, I just didn't recognize that was what it was called. But I liked her stuff. She had a lot of cute little, like, you're not gonna be able to see it on the card, but she had like scenes, a biker going up a hill, stuff like that. But I picked up her card because she does classes. So that's something else that I liked, and I'm going to share that information with you. The third person that I wanted to share that really caught my eye was, her thing is Desirables by Deborah, and this is a card that she gave. And what she does is she does drawings, And then she adds crystals and beads to them, which you can't tell because this is just a flat printed card. But when you're there in person, they're framed and they're sparkly. And yes, so they were just, there was this mermaid one, which I would love to share, but it's not my work, so I'm not going to share it. But I will share her information so you can go to her website, or you can look at her on Instagram, because on her Instagram feed, she'll do videos. So you can see the picture and she turns it so you can see the sparkles and the crystals and everything. And yeah, I thought it was really, really cool. And I'm a huge mermaid fan. If you didn't know already, I'm a huge mermaid fan. So she had some really pretty mermaids, and it wasn't even just the artwork itself. It was in a really nice frame too on top of it. So yeah, I thought she was really quality work, and I wanted to share her with you, not only because I enjoyed her, but maybe you'll enjoy her and the other artists that I've mentioned, and get some inspiration from them for your own crafting and craft work. After we went to the Art in the Pen, right around the corner from the cattle market is a farm shop called Kendall's Farm Market. It's the first thing like that I've seen around here, kind of. Honestly, it reminded me of a drawing a blank. Too much bubbly. Not Wegmans, but Whole Foods. It reminded me, so for the people who are in the States, they know Whole Foods, usually this market. So it was really cute the way the shop was set up. There was actually a tractor inside. They had a juice bar, which we definitely took part of, and they just make your smoothie right there in front of you using this super huge squasher blender. And they had a lot of local unique items, and they also sell alcohol, which is different. In the States, you can't always get alcohol in the supermarket, depending on what state you're in. So this was, one-stop shopping, but it also had unique things, bespoke things for the area, whether it was chocolate, whether it was gin, even some of the meats were special. What I thought was particularly interesting was right when you walked in, you walk into the veg section, and they had a section that is they call it because I have the paper here, it's called the Kelham's Homegrown Vegetable Exchange Scheme. Basically, if you got your own garden and you grow your own veg, you can apply to be part of the exchange, where you can take your stuff to the farmer's market and they'll take it and they'll sell it for you. I'm not sure about, I don't know anything about the financial part, if it's just for charitable purpose. I don't know. I didn't read through everything, but I just thought that was really cool because they had Mrs. Johnson's gooseberries. It literally came from her backyard, and you could have some of them. So that was interesting and neat, and I do love that kind of community stuff that happens in those kinds of shops and farmers markets and farmer stands and stalls and etc., etc. So that was how we wrapped up our lovely magical memory day, and that is it for me. So I'm going to wrap up this 20th episode of Dollbellieknits. I am gobsmacked that I've made it to episode 20, and I am so grateful and thankful for all of you guys out there who continue to come back week upon week to see what this crazy lady is nattering on about. If you are a new viewer and you've just stopped by, thank you so much for doing so. Hopefully you've liked what you've seen, and if you have liked what you've seen, please click subscribe and hit the little bell so that you'll be notified every time there's another episode of Dollbellieknits that comes out. So until next time, I hope you have some happy knitting and crafting. I hope you stay healthy and well, and I hope that you get out there and you make some magical memories of your own. See you next time. Bye.